Okay, a Fender Esquire and a Fender Telecaster, essentially the same guitar, except the Esquire has one pickup, and I believe originally cost about $169, and I think the Telecaster, being its more expensive brother or sister, however you want to put it, cost $189. So basically, an Esquire, this thing would have looked like this, one pickup when it was made, probably blonde. It's a top loader. It's been converted to normal spec, but it's light, and I can see why he liked it. But all Telecasters and Esquires are routed for the front pickup. They just chose not to put it in there, and it was a cheaper guitar. So, we're playing slide on it today because these are Rory strings, and I don't want to like mess with the DNA before the sale. I grew up about 300 miles from where we're sitting here. We're on Long Island. You can't say in Long Island. You have to say on Long Island. We're playing a festival, so if you hear music behind me, it's because other bands are playing. And I grew up in a very blue-collar part of the world. And when my father showed me a Rory Gallagher record, it was called Live in Europe. It wasn't Irish Tour 74, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, but Live in Europe. And here was this guy with long hair and a flannel shirt, and looked like he just came out of an auto factory, and playing some of the most gut bucket blues and rock you've ever heard. I go, wow, I can relate to that because people around here look like that. And, he was a working class hero that transcended just being Irish, and it transcended, to a global thing. Everybody can relate to a working class hero. And that's what he was until the day he died. He was that guy. And that kind of honesty and authenticity is, you hear it in the music. And a lot of the narrative is like, well, Rory only used one guitar for his whole life. He had a lot of guitars, as we're about to see. He had a lot of guitars, a lot of amps, but he's most notably, he's known for using the 61 Strat. But there was a lot of guitars like this that he would use for different things, different sounds, and it's, they're tools. Well, if everybody in the 70s knew that these guitars were going to be 5 figures or more, like if you had a straight 59 Esquire, you're looking at a $20,000, $25,000 guitar. If everybody knew that when they were buying them in the 70s for $100 or 200 pounds, wherever he bought this for, nobody would modify them. These were tools. It's like, oh, I want a black guitar. Okay, paint it black. Oh, I want to put a pickup in the front. Put a pickup in the front. These weren't valuable collectibles. Only in the last 35 years, 40 years that there's been a vintage guitar, market to the point where people go, this is a valuable guitar. Please don't touch a screw on it. I have guitars that are this old. They have the original strings. That's a little bit extreme because you gotta play them. No, it's very cool to see this, and it's very cool to have his guitar strap and the tape that he uses. He's one of my guitar heroes, one of my biggest guitar heroes. So,
what else are you picking up from that particular guitar?
Well, the front pickup sounds good. You may want to look at the back pickup. It may need to be rewound. But again, these have been sitting. I think he died in 1995, so that's 29 years ago. And it will be 30 years, coming up next year. And, a guitar that sits for 30 years tends not to work. They need a little bit of maintenance, but, it's up to the buyer whether they want to keep Rory strings on it or get it rewound or, get it back up playing. Or I think the worst case scenario is we just hang it on the wall and, brag to your rich buddies that you bought it. These things are tools and they should make music again. And I think the good part of this collection you'll see him back out there making music. It's a good playing late 50s Fender Telecaster Esquire. The actions seemed like it was set up for slide. Got big frets on it. He tended to like monster frets. These are really monster frets. It's a great, honest instrument that should make music again. And you can tell he wanted to play slide on it. I think the coolest thing about it is the strap that comes with it. That's Rory's DNA right there. I mean, this is like, I think he wasn't a very big guy, but he slung it pretty normal. But, he had a big guitar collection, and he's an icon to people in Ireland and Europe and people in Europe and the UK and even here, in the US, because he did tour significantly in the US. I mean, he was, Rush, most famously, Rush opened for Rory Gallagher, and then a year later, Rory opened for Rush when they had hits. But he was, he would just show up and play, and everybody who saw him said, oh, one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. And, it's a real honor to actually hold the man's instruments and get to spend a few minutes playing them, It's very cool. It's very apparent that these were all tools to him. It was like, I just have a cool telly, or I have this, or I have a Strat. It's like, they're just tools.